Hey guys, this is my first point of view guide where I'm going to talk you through exactly how to play and encounter through as a Warlock and do 200k dps on Elegon. Okay, so for this fight there are two requirements. First of all, you need the Malnoros Fury talent and you need the Glyph of Soul Swap. Stand still on the edge of the energy vortex and don't move unless you need to reset your stacks. Only reset your stacks by jumping. Now you're only going to need to reset them once during this first phase really, but don't take too many risks. Now you should be able to peak around 200k DPS during this first phase and sustain 150k plus even after that burst. So start with the opening rotation that I explained in the YouTube Affliction guide, which are in the stickies at the top of the forum, and once you've fully completed the opener and done your second Soulburn Soul Swap on Elegon, do a standard Soul Swap from Elegon onto the Celestial Protector and then keep DPSing him. Now you won't see me do that in this particular video, but that is what I would normally do. Now, with our strategy on this second one, we keep DPSing Elegon full time because we want to push him as fast as possible. So I'm doing one Soul Swap onto him, and then as soon as Elegon hits 85%, I'm pushing all my DPS onto the Protector. Now you need to make sure at this point that you have at least 2 shards. If you don't, drain Soul them off the ad right now, and get your dots up on Elegon using Soulburn Soul Swap. Okay, so the ads have spawned, and I'm doing a Soulburn Seed of Corruption and a Seed of Corruption on Elegon just before they spawn. Now this way, when they do spawn, both of those dots instantly explode and you get corruption ticking on 7 targets. Now that means I'm going to have so many soul shards I'm not going to know what to do with them. So basically in this phase I'm keeping up all my dots on Elegon. In between phases I'm going to be life tapping and resetting my stacks, and then every time he starts to cast draw power like he just did, start casting one Soulburn Seed of Corruption and one Seed of Corruption. And because you have all your dots ticking on Elegon, those Seed of Corruptions are going to explode instantly. Which means every wave of ad that spawns, all of them are going to have corruption on it. And as they move towards the pillars, I'm just spamming Seed of Corruption again and again and again until the ads are dead. As soon as they're all dead, life tap, reset stacks if you need to, make sure your dots are refreshed on Elegon, and just DPSing when you have nothing else to do. Now it's really important that as he casts draw power every single time, start that Soulburn Seed of Corruption and the Seed of Corruption cast. Just keep chaining the Seeds of Corruptions, don't let them fall off. Make sure, just don't forget to reset your stacks. The closer you stand to the edge, the more DPS you're going to do. And again, the more energy charges that your guild takes, the more waves of them they can handle, the more DPS you're going to do. You'll see when I started this phase I was on about 170k DPS. By the time we get near the end I'm on 200k. So if your guild can only handle 5 waves, you're going to struggle to do 200k DPS here. Okay, so what if you are in a 10-man guild and you have your own target that you were assigned to kill? AoEing is not going to cut it. So if that is the case for you, then what you should do is when he's casting his 3-second draw power, do a Soulburn Seed of Corruption and then a normal Seed of Corruption. Both of those spells will land just as the ad spawns. Then they'll instantly detonate because of your dots on Elegon, which means you have corruption on all 6 targets, and you've had 2 Seed of Corruption explosions on them, so they're going to start with 80% HP or so. And now you can just DPS your ad like you normally would. So it's already going to have corruption on it, so do Unstable Affliction and Agony, then cast Haunt, and then start nuking with Malefic Grasp. If it's getting close, throw out a couple of extra Haunts. Haunt's really bursty, you can pretty much kill it with that. And you're going to have more shards than you could possibly need. So all it does, it basically means that rather than spam AoE, you do a couple of AoEs before they spawn, and then nuke them down from there. Now, after this phase ends, we move on to the pillars. I do one Soulburn Soul Swap onto the closest pillar, and then I Soul Swap it onto the other pillar nearby, because I can only reach 2 of them from this spot. There isn't really a lot you can do here as far as pushing your DPS goes. Just get your pillars down as quickly as possible and hug up with the rest of your raid, depending on what your strategy is, of course. One other thing to mention about this phase is Doomguard. On Heroic only, Doomguard doesn't attack Elegon, so the only time you can use him is during this phase. So if you're gonna use Doomguard, just put him on one of the pillars, or you can Infernal these ads here. Now once we do hug up, as you can see, I'm putting a Soulburn Seed of Corruption on one of the ads and a Seed of Corruption, and then I'm Soulburn Soul Swapping onto it as well, so that they explode, and then I'm just spamming Seed of Corruption on it to do as much AoE as I can. Now as soon as you go inside, carry on AoEing, because then you'll get the 50% damage buff. And better still, if your tank brings them close enough to Elegon, you can actually cast Seed of Corruption onto Elegon and AoE them from off of him to benefit from his damage buff. Okay, so basically phase 1 is starting still again. You want to pick a spot close to the edge. If you can find the exact spot where you can reset by jumping again, great, but don't waste time messing around trying to find it. So Dark Soul is up again, Soulburn Soul Swap onto the boss, keep Horns up. When the Celestial Protector spawns, do a Glyphed Soul Swap off of Elegon onto it. Burn it down if you need to, drain Soul it when it gets low. Cap to keep on DPSing Elegon. Only use Horn on Elegon when you're not going to be switching to the ad, otherwise it's kind of wasted. The more DPS you do on Elegon, the more damage you're going to do. Now I'm not encouraging you to not DPS the ads when you're progressing. Like if you haven't killed this boss before, it's probably going to be more important that you push the ads. But if this is a farm boss for you and you just want to know how you can do better DPS on it, maybe you want to get a rank, maybe you just want to, you know, EP in it a little bit, then the more time you spend DPSing Elegon, the more damage you're going to do in this fight. Okay, so he's getting close to 50% again, so that means the ad phase is going to start. I'm making sure that all my dots are up on him. We're going to have to push the ad as soon as he gets to 50%, which he has now. He's just started casting Draw Power. So I'm pushing the ad just to get it transitioned quickly. If you were just going for ranks, you would just stay DPSing Elegon at this point. Now, 3 seconds left on his Draw Power, 1 Soulburn Seed of Corruption, 1 Seed of Corruption. Then start spamming the Seeds of Corruption. And again, it's just the same as the last phase. Reset your stacks, minimize your movement. I mean, I could be closer to the edge than I am now. The other thing I noticed from these videos, I found myself picking on my own gameplay. So stay as close to the edge as you can so you don't have to run out much to reset your stacks. Always make sure you're left up in between waves so you don't run over them during a wave. And just keep your dots up ticking on Elegon as you go. So really, ranking on this fight, or doing really high DPS on this fight, it's all about standing close to the edge of the energy vortex so that you can only ever move. You're only going to have to move really on really 2 occasions. When you want to go DPS the pillars and when you want to come back from DPSing the pillars. Other than that, the only time you have to move is to reset your stacks, really. Now, once this second burn is over, so killing these ads the second time is over, you want to get inside and get your dots up on Elegon as quickly as possible because the debuffs he's got is going to really skyrocket your damage. Now, cast some Soulburn Seed of Corruptions off of him onto the ads if you can, but if they're not close enough, then don't worry about it. Just AoE them, get them down, because that's more important than your DPS. Now, as soon as the ads are dead, make sure your haunts are kept up on Elegon full time. Don't bother popping your Doomguard if you're on Heroic because it's not going to do anything. And just maintain your haunts when he's below 20%. Maintain your dots using Soulburn Soul Swap just as normal with the Execute and Drain Soul. Now this is also when you should be using your second Potion of the Jade Serpent. And as you'll see, even though I started the phase with only 170k DPS, by the time he gets to 1%, I'm on 200k. Now this is actually a wipe try, but you can still get it's actually a 1% wipe, but you can still get a basic idea of how much DPS you're going to be doing if you do everything right. Okay guys, thank you for watching. If you liked this style of guide with me just narrating my own gameplay with webcam as opposed to my other style, let me know on my YouTube page, comment on this video. If you want to see more of my stuff, click subscribe on YouTube, check out my other guides, or watch me live every day on twitch.tv/.